It has 6 carbons, so it's hexane, but it's in a cycle. So it's cyclohexane. Because cyclohexane has a different formula than hexane. Just hexane in general would be C6H14, but cyclohexane is C6H12. They do have different formulas, so you do actually specify. Again, am I holding you responsible for cycles? No. Okay, it's a good worksheet question, but it's not a good test question. Okay? If we continue on with this stuff on here, the next part just gets you to try and identify the functional groups. So you're trying to underline or spot them in large molecules. So like you can see a carboxylic acid over here. Over here there's a bunch of junk. Technically this NH2 is an amine group, but I probably would have just thought you saw that one. Here's another carboxylic acid. Here's a whole heck of a lot of hydroxyl groups. It's almost like there's a hydroxyl group for every carbon, like a carbon hydrate. Or a carbohydrate.
Whoa!
Is that what that means?
Hydroxy. Oh wait, no.
Okay. Over here, you got all kinds of stuff. Lots of carbon chains. Okay, here's what, nope, that's not quite a carboxylic acid. It was at one point. Here's a phosphate. That would be the only phosphate group you would have ever seen. I am not going to put a phosphate on your test. Okay, Lily.
To the last guy, then go
Like, well, it looked like on a test when you have like circle stuff.
I'm probably not going to do that just because I was out yesterday.
Or do you want to actually wait this time for
I have test
small
questions
scale?
like this,
Okay.
so I don't want to say yes or no
Alright,
yet.
just switch.
Because tomorrow I'll tell you, okay, here's on the test. Because I have to deal with one other issue with you guys. We have an assembly scheduled on Friday. So if the assembly goes long and we come back and there's not enough time, guess what happens?
We take it Monday.
Right. But I'll know if the assembly goes long. So if you're like kind of hanging out in the hall and just hoping, hey, it went too long, like I'm going to give you the test when you walk in. Okay? So if you pull the, I don't know, I got the assembly late, I'll be like, dude, I was at the assembly, I know what time it ended. Here's your test. Good luck. Don't do that to me. Good luck with your right. Good luck with your I think we'll be fine because the winter one's usually not that bad. Marching band people, anyone in marching band here? Good deal. Okay, so don't have to worry about it. If marching band, put their instruments away. I'll find out if you're in marching band. Don't lie.
You play orchestra. You can't even lie about that.
Yeah,
marching
marching.
orders.
I know it took you that long to put the game. Nobody believes.
I'm telling you with him, yes, exactly. So anyways, just
keeps
get
moving.
back here. You'll have plenty of time, I think, and we should be fine. If for some reason it goes too long, I'm going to push your test to Monday because it's not fair to give you less time to the classes. Yada, 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 yada. All right, so that's where like I don't know the answer to Lily's question yet. Are you going to circle things on there? I do have questions like that, but today I'm going to sit down and figure, okay, what is actually fair? And I have to look at the entirety of the unit to put it on there and compare it down so that we have enough time, because you're shortened periods by like, I don't know, a minute or two. How many minutes is a period shorter?
4.
Okay.
Tomorrow?
Well,
Oh,
yeah.
today it's
You
like.
shorten
I think it's 5 minutes, so you have 5 less minutes per period.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was today.
Double
deal.
meter.
Well, it's like a
Ooh.
fraction or two, like,
We have 42 minutes per class.
Okay,
That's
so I wait till tomorrow to ask that question. To the back then, if we look at this consistently, here's the other last little piece of information I want to teach you guys. So if we're writing out these formulas for one hexanol,
One more.
well, hex has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbons, right? What's the anol mean? OH. Okay, where's it go? Anywhere. Either end, right? So I'll just throw it on this end. Why did I write it backwards?
Don't know. Because it connects to the O.
Right, because the bond goes to the O, not the H. So that's all it's showing. Everything else on here is H's. See how this is a pain in the butt to write all this stuff out though?
Yeah.
So there's a shorter way. And if you drew this in 3 dimensions, you'd be like, okay, that's an sp3 hybrid. You have to draw this in 3D? Well, like, yeah, I guess technically, unless you walk really closely here. Draw that as another sp3 hybrid.
Oh my god.
That's another sp3 hybrid. That's another sp3 hybrid. Except, if you look real closely, you're starting to draw something.
A chain.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
The zigzags.
That's where these zigzags come from. Because the zigzags actually represent the number of carbons and hydrogens. So in organic chemistry, there's so many carbons and hydrogens that we don't actually annotate them. Like we never write them down. The way we know they're there is every vertice is a carbon, and it's assumed if nothing else is next to that vertice, there's hydrogen surrounding it. So for example, in a
Yeah, I
6
know.
carbon molecule, if you drew one line, you just drew 2 carbons. Now you have 3.
Oh,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbons. Okay? Where's the OH group go? On one of the ends. That attached line is like half the size. And then I wrote it backwards initially. That's 1 hexanol. That's it. And that's actually in 3D. Because what am I not drawing? The hydrogens. And if the hydrogens are the only thing I'm not drawing that are in 3 dimensions, then technically have I drawn that in 3 dimensions? Yes. So that is drawing that in 3D with multiple centers. It makes life so much easier. Spencer.
How would you do that with, like a map?
Hold that thought, we're gonna get there. So butylamine, that's 4 carbons. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's the amine group go? Yeah, so either this one or the last one. So I don't know, I'll put on the last this time. Continue your zigzagging with just a half line. And then it's attached to the end, H2. So there's 1 butylamine. Now to answer Spencer's question, how would you do that for methanoic acid? Well, meth is just 1 carbon, so you just like draw a dot. Okay, so anytime you're doing a zigzag, you need to change your direction. Like you need a vertice. So a lot of kids say, so you can't do it until there's 3 carbons, right? I can't make a general statement like that because you actually can draw this one in shorthand. But if you didn't know that yet, you'd say, okay, there's a carbon, it's double bonded to an OH, or to an O, which is bonded to an H. What's the other bond attached to? It's got to be a hydrogen because nothing else was specified. Now you actually can draw this shorthand. If the carbon is a vertice, there's a double bonded O, and there's an OH coming off of it. You see how I showed change in direction? So can you see where there's a vertice? That's methanoic acid, or formic acid. Really good dissolving bodies, in case you ever need it. Also really good dissolving bathtubs, if you've seen Breaking Bad.
How fast does it like dissolve bonds?
It's maybe a day or 2, it's a body, it's a lot of stuff, okay?
That doesn't sound like that long. I feel like you should take.
Yeah, then you just open the drain.
Well,
You
can't tell.
dissolves everything. DNA residue will be left in the tub. It's hard to analyze though. So you want to spray with ammonia when you're done.
Or just let it fire.
You're talking about
Ammonia.
But then they'll smell it and they'll kind of know that you did that, and it will dissolve your bathtub. So you gotta have like a plastic lining on the bathtub.
Then you can talk about it.
Wait, how did it clean out the bathroom?
Wait, what did it dissolve?
So like you get a body, get a plastic lining,
Oh, okay.
and then put it in the bathtub, and then dump the formic acid onto the body, dissolves to nothing. You just open the drain, let the body go down the drain. And then I don't know what to do with that plastic lining and light it on fire, melt it maybe, I guess.
Wait, what did it dissolve in plastic?
I'm talking about
These are all like questions about like, I want to do this later, so can you explain this in more detail?
So it dissolves like bodies in that.
Yeah, why
You're not
does
going to get your hand in enough formic acid, right? Formic acid etches glass. So
Wait,
it is
why would
stored
it
in
dissolve the
plastic
plastic?
containers. What?
Why would it dissolve in plastic?
It doesn't react with it. It reacts with almost everything, even glass. So you can't even store it in glass containers.
If it can dissolve a body, isn't it just really hard to get then?
Exactly. But it's a really good starting
It's like, how many
molecule
quarts do I
for a
need?
lot of organic chemistry because it puts a carboxylic acid on stuff, so it is very, very useful, other than dissolving bodies. That's why it dissolves bodies so well, is because it's making all these organic complexes out of your tissues. Good things to know. So any serial killers out there? Now you know we got it. There we go. So tetradecanoic is 14. Okay, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You see how it should always have one less line for the number of carbons? So if you have 14 carbons, you have 13 lines. Got that?
Really?
You're doing vertices. So if we have 14 carbons on here, and then the enoic acid tells us we have like this double bonded OH group. This is the number one example kids screw up. Is you look at this and you do one of these things. Like, oh, it's a COOH group.
Not quite how it works.
Well, now you just made that pentadecanoic acid. Because what did you just do to that carbon? You added that. So really what you have to imagine is that this centralized carbon is there. You have a double bonded oxygen and then this OH group over here. But we don't draw it that way. We're going to draw it more like that. So I always tell kids when you're doing this, to make life easier for yourself, draw the hydroxyl part first. So draw the OH first. So you continue your OH with that half line. And then at the top of that vertex would be a double bonded O. The reason why I say it that way is because sometimes the lines go in the opposite direction and your brain gets all messed up. And you're like, what do I do now? Well, you can turn your paper around if you want. Or if you continue the zigzag with the OH, you should see that the double bonded O should be upside down. Either way, like it doesn't matter. Okay? Yeah.
Is that considered pornography? Or
No, because in shorthand notation, you actually do not put lone pairs in because they're technically invisible. So that is a good question. So all you really have to be able to do is, can you draw these zigzags? Can you name the zigzag based on what you've seen? I really don't think this stuff is too hard. Like I think you'll want this on your test, especially because you have the sheet that tells you everything about it anyways. So let's try some practice in like kind of these couple minutes here. Let's see if we can do it.
What time is this class on? 35.
35?
Thanks, Frederick. No, it's not next hour. I just ate 21 grams of protein.
Make sure you hydrate, or you're gonna kidney stone.
Really?
Body's not good at digesting.
Why do you know this stuff? I have high cholesterol. I know my mom said I had it. I got my blood drawn. I said I had
Dude, what time do we win by?
my age.
Oh my god, dude, why do I keep dropping?
Why you have to have it at a young age?
Let's go.
Unlikely, actually.
Oh, we will. I know it's fun. That means let's go work.
I thought you meant like no.
I know it's one.
Bro, like
3 carbon.
I love getting my blood drawn. Watching it leave.
why?
Hope, no.
That's like
So,
my strange addiction.
there's an OH on the second one.
Are you serious?
So it's
If you want to buy
O,
boric
2,
acid, just say no.
H. Right? Huh?
Right?
Yeah, that is right.
How many?
Yeah, my mom can't watch it. So she gets sick of it.
Like how much around oxygen, right? Yeah, oxygen's
That's
six.
right.
Listen, Lily, I love you a lot, but I really hate blood. So, good luck.
Oh,
Boom.
That's what she says.
honestly, shorthand is hard.
It's such a one day doctor.
Hooray.
Like, I don't get it.
Hep parade. What's hep though? 5? Is hep 5? Yeah, we'll skip that. Pence.
Hence 5.
Pence. Yeah, pence 5. So that's probably 7. We'll go with pence first. 5 carbons, fine.
Say it again,
And
man.
it's on the second one. And it's illamine. So it's just coup. No, illamine isn't coup. Illamine, I think it's coup.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Illamine. Is it Bulman's fat head? We're getting some great clips of him though.
I think it's just multiple letters already.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so illamine. So there's nitrogen and 2 hydrogens bonded to it. Wait, nitrogen is a 5. What is going on?
All in all, the TA.
It's 5. So it's like this.
You have to also realize Carcass is from the generation that did not get the new stuff. So like she took ICB 2 years ago, which is the curriculum got changed last year. Although Matthew was in that
Let me ask you.
taught them the whole thing. There wasn't a teacher in the room for 15 minutes. He was the teacher.
They didn't tell me they gotta do this. No one asked me any questions.
So, say you wanted to, like, if I was in Goldbush's Honors, and I was,
Agent want to go into honors next year?
no. Okay, so I'm in global issues.
Is this about dissolving bodies or like about something else?
It's about something else. And I was too no, I'm not. And I was too lazy to pay attention, so I recorded the lessons, where I needed the teacher's consent to do that.
Only if you posted it online, then absolutely yes. If you did not post it anywhere,
He watches it to go to bed.
Not really.
That's kind of weird.
That's really creepy.
I believe the teacher just asked you to remove it from your device.
Do you record it in every class?
No, just in the class.
Just in this one?
I don't know legally. Yeah, I guess legally they could ask you to remove it from your device. If you posted it, they'd ask you to take it down.
Okay.
You technically need consent if you want it, but I think most teachers won't care. Like,
Okay.
I'm well aware that you're videotaping me often, and I'm just like, whatever.
Mhm.
I wouldn't deny it. Except when I like tell Lily to start killing people or something.
You might want to cut.
And that's the end of the lesson.
Recorder, I promise.
That's the end of the lesson. What was that?
Bad.
See you later.